This is the ultimate guide to college showcases and pro tryouts. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how they're run, exactly what the scouts and the recruiters are looking for, and at the end, I'm going to show you how to prepare so that you can dominate and get recruited by these top level programs.
Cannot feel this energy.
We've gotten so many requests to put together this breakdown of a pro combine and a college showcase, we decided to just go ahead and put a video out on it. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of how that actually goes on and what takes place at these showcases and combines, I want to talk about two things specifically that are super important before you even consider going to one of these. The first one is this: don't go to a showcase without something to showcase. That means if you don't have an above average skill like arm strength, speed, hit for power, hit for average, defense, velocity, spin rate, some tool that is above average, you're not going to get noticed. So it is a waste of time and energy unless you have something above average to show them. Which brings me to my second point. This is a job interview. See, these guys do this for a living. You have to look at pro organizations and college organizations as businesses because that's the way they look at them. They have athletes that play for them. That's their job. In pro ball, they pay money for that. That is much closer to a regular job. But in college, there's scholarship dollars, there's partial scholarships. It's still a working environment. Your attendance is required. You have to go, and you're expected to compete and expected to win. So when you're thinking about going to these showcases, it really helps to put it in your head as this is very just simply a job interview. The resume portion is the beginning of the showcase or the combine. And throughout this video, I'm going to use the word combine and showcase interchangeably. Tryout, combine, showcase. All the good ones run just about the same. And the very first part is that resume section. So in the resume section, that is where everybody comes in and they go through what's called a 5-tool tryout, or tangibles or metrics. And there's 5 activities that they look to grade. Generally, the first thing they're going to look for is speed. That's the first tool. They're going to run the 60-yard dash. Then they will generally look at the second tool. The second tool is arm strength. Now, this isn't pitchers. This is typically your infield players. And that's going to be catchers included. They're going to just look for the general arm strength of each one of the participants in the showcase. The third tool is generally when we take batting practice, and that's going to be tool 3 is going to be hitting for power, and tool 4 is hitting for average. And both of those are assessed inside the batting practice, inside the BP simulation. That could be off of a live guy or that could be off of a machine. The 5th tool is your defensive skill work, where your outfielders may catch some fly balls, your infielders are going to take plays, your catchers might work a little bit of defense. But there are 5 tools that they measure, 5 tangible things that they measure in that very first section. Tool number 1, speed. This is just gross linear speed. That has nothing to do with the ability to steal bases, has nothing to do with running down. They're just looking for general gross speed. And this is usually always the first event because it takes the longest, it's the most tedious. You can only look at 1 or 2 guys at a time. So generally they'll run this first and early in the morning. They'll mark out the 60-yard dash and somewhere in the outfield, generally in left field, and they'll run on stopwatches. And they're timing your speed from a base stealing stance to when you get to the 60-yard mark. This is designed to show gross speed. And when I say gross, just general speed. How fast can you run? what they're going to do with this is from there, they'll be able to infer or extrapolate or look and say, okay, this is somebody that's got above average speed. So this is something that stands out. Why is that important? Well, in baseball, you have to understand, we're not competing against an opponent. I'm not a wide receiver against a defensive back. I'm not a point guard against a defender. I'm not in lacrosse or any other sport. Our speed is really measured against the routine play, the pace of a play. And the faster a player is, the less time the defense has to make a play, whether that be at first base or whatever the case may be. So faster guys take away the routine play. They make all the plays advanced plays. They make all the plays very athletic plays. Slower guys, that ground ball to shortstop's ground ball to shortstop. He can drop it, pick it up, and throw it over there. Fast guys, it's field step throw. Field step throw. You got to know your runner, and it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. That's why speed is still a very, very coveted aspect of these combines. When we're watching guys run, generally they'll run in pairs. So you'll see them down there, got the stopwatch, guys with clipboards. Everybody's looking down there. Ready, go, off they run. We're watching them run, and then we get here for the time, but we're watching them run. There's a few things we're looking for. Are they competing when they run? Like, here's one that happens. Don't be this guy. Do not be this guy. They'll run in pairs. One guy will usually get ahead of the other guy, right? Just pull out, a step or two ahead of the other guy. This guy quits 2 steps short. He lets up. Never be that guy. Why? Because you're not competing. We want guys that compete 24/7, almost that we have to worry about. And those guys finish those races even if they're getting beat. The second tool, which is almost always the second activity, the second event, is going to be the showcasing of arm strength. This is when we take the position players generally. Catchers will do in a moment. I'll talk about you catchers here in just a second. But we'll take all of the outfielders and the infielders and we'll put everybody into deep right field. We want to see your throw to third base and your throw to home. So the coach, somebody will be standing there and generally just throw a ball up in the air. Good showcases will do that because they want the ball off the ground. They don't want to get the ball wet or slick or anything like that. So we'll have a bucket of balls, and he'll just stand there, wait for okay, we're ready. This is, number 164, Johnson, and he throws the ball up in the air, and then you get under it and catch the ball, and you throw it to 2 to third and generally 2 to home. Why is arm strength important for us? Well, as a next level program, whether that be pro ball, you're coming from high school to college, or pro ball, or you're going from college to pro ball, at the next level, we know what it takes for plays to be made on a routine level and an athletic level. So when it comes to arm strength, what we are really trying to determine is when it's time to throw, whether you're an outfielder, infielder, or a catcher, can you, one, make the routine play with your arm, throwing across a diamond or throwing to the bases, and 2, do you have an ability to grab another gear and make the athletic play? And that's the one where you won't make often, but that's the one where you're cutting a run down at third base, or you're throwing somebody out at home, or you're going to the backhand at third base and just cutting it loose across a diamond. As this drill's going on, there's 3 specifics that we're looking for. We're looking for carry, effort, and control. Carry is how far the ball goes toward the base without losing velocity, without losing force, without falling off. So think about it this way. From right field, draw a line between where the person is throwing the ball and where third base is. That would be a perfect line. And in the middle, there's that shortstop guy. That's to kind of line them up. And what you're ideally, the greatest arm out there is going to throw it from a line, from that position, all the way to third without it losing force. When we're talking about carry, we grade it all kinds of different ways. There's some guys that go plus arm, zero arm, which is average at their level, not your level, at their level. Zero arm is average, minus arm is below average. There's a 1 to 10 scale, which I like, which 10 would be the elite, in this case, throw on a line all the way over, and 1 really doesn't go anywhere. And I'm going to explain more about that one in just a second. And then generally the guys on the pro ball side use a 20-80 scale, which is graded, it's a player comp, which is graded against players at their big league level. 80 arm is high elite. Your Pud Rodriguez, your Johnny Bench from behind the plate, your Dave Winfield from right field, those epic top in the game arms. And 40 is not particularly prospectable. They need to be, that 20-80 scale, you need to be in the 60s to be into that consideration for arm strength. I like the 1 to 10. Here's why I like it. We're looking from the stands over the first base dugout. So right field is over there, and third base and home plate are over here, and that shortstop I talked about is in the middle. I am going 1 to 10, 10 being where the ball lands, third base, if it lands on a line there, and 1 being where you let go of the ball. 5 is where the shortstop is. So what I'm looking for is where on that line drive, that on a line, where does it lose carry? Where does the force fall off of it? So if you've got a right fielder throwing and he throws on a line, and I can see it's on a line, it gets past the shortstop. Right at the shortstop, it starts to die. So not where it lands, but where I can see it falling right at the head of the shortstop, that's a 5. Now the next guy comes up and throws, and he basically takes the same throw, and instead of dying at the shortstop, now it dies about halfway between short and third. For me, that's a 7. So it's an easy way for me to look at and say, okay, he has got a 7 arm. That means he can make a carried throw, a throw on a line from deep right field to halfway between the cutoff man and third base, or cutoff man and home plate. That's a tool I've always liked to use because it gives real information to the parent. It also is equatable to me at the next level, would that be college or pro ball, where I'll know how that will compare or comp to what happens at our level. Tool number 3, tool number 4, that's hitting for power and hitting for average, or what's called rake. This is in a BP environment, generally on an arm or off a machine where you're going to roll the cage up, and everybody except for group 1 is in the field shagging balls. And then they'll rotate group to group to group. And what we're doing is we're looking at 2 different aspects of everybody's swing. Whether they have power, they can hit the ball into the gaps and or out of the yard, out of the field, and can they hit balls in different places on the field? Why is that important? Well, the book is named Barrel Accuracy and Swing Strength, BASS. The only 2 things that hitters really need to be concerned about is hitting the ball on the barrel effectively and hitting it hard. So hitting it on the barrel means that you can hit the outside pitch to the away field, or at least up the middle. On the inside pitch, he's got the ability to change his swing shape to pull that ball to be barrel accurate. And the swing strength is power. When we hit the ball powerfully, the defense has to cover the whole field. Home runs are great, don't get me wrong, but there's actually a guy that we played against in college, and we didn't figure him out. This is when Manatee was a dominant program and Tallahassee College was a dominant program, and you had Dave Moats down there and all those guys that were just the kingpins in college baseball at that time in junior college. They had a little leadoff hitter who was super fast, left-handed guy, and he seemed to It was just weird. He didn't pull the ball much. He'd foul those balls off. And then we throw something away, and he'd just kind of dump it over the shortstop's head, the third baseman's head. After about 15 at-bats, we noticed that it never went into the gap. It never went anywhere. So C.J. Fagan was our left fielder who had a great career, went on, played at Stetson, had a great career. We moved him in to 15 feet behind the shortstop. He was super uncomfortable. He didn't like it one bit. But we're like, well, the guy's killing us because he's just dumping it over Felix, our shortstop, Felix's head. And Felix can't get to it, and he's dumping it right in front of CJ. Just move CJ up. He hits it over CJ's head. He hits it over CJ's head. Whatever. We got to get this guy off base. He never got another hit against us. Never had another hit again. CJ Fagan was just standing there. Boop, catch. Well, he's left-handed, so it's like this. Just catch every time. We figured him out. Took a few at-bats, but we figured him out. I'm telling you that because power is important. If you can't hit the ball into the gaps, regardless of hitting it out of the yard, if you can't hit it into the gaps, the defense will collapse on you. They may not be the first at-bat, or the second or the third. It may take 15 at-bats like us to figure out he can't hit it 40 feet. So just crash. Power is important that way, so that if you get a pitch that you can drive, you can hit it into the gap. Why is the gap important? The gaps equal doubles. It is a very significant advantage to have a man on second base. That's why they call it scoring position. Now, hitting for rake or hitting to other parts of the field, I think I might have talked about this before. I need a guy that's able to pull the ball if it's inside, hit it down the line. I also need a guy that's able to take that slider, that's changeup, whether he gets fooled or not, doesn't matter. We don't care if you get fooled in the next level. That's not an excuse not to hit it. Can you change your swing shape to hit the ball over there so you can get on base instead of just giving up the out? So the ability to hit the ball where it's pitched is going to be that barrel accuracy, that ability to rake, that ability to hit for average, and to be able to hit the ball deep or hit the ball in the gaps or possibly out of the yard is the swing strength we're looking for. Everybody gets graded on both of those two criteria. Now, tool 3 and tool 4, what we're actually looking for with concern to power, we're looking for how the ball jumps off the bat, how it sounds coming off the bat. And all that has to do with the bat speed you create in about a 3-inch area. Power is really about 3 to 5 inches of barrel extension and what happens right there at that contact. When we're watching guys hit for power or trying to hit for power, what ends up happening is they think they're accelerating through the ball, but actually the force of the ball is neutralizing the force they can put on it because they're just not strong enough. And strong and speed work together. Bat speed and strength, the production of force, is an amalgam of those two things. So you can hear it in the bat. It's not a powerful sound. So that force that's being brought on and the force they're trying to create, it's not impressive. Then there are guys who overpower the baseball in that 3 to 5 inch area of extension, where they overpower the force put on the baseball and they're really applying that. Well, what ends up happening is you reverse the force of the ball and you apply more force that you're producing. Now that ball has some carry. Now that ball has some life, we call it, and has some jump on it. And that ball gets into the gap. One of the things that we really look for, and this is on swing strength here in a minute, I'm going to talk about this, is how easy it is for somebody to produce that. It's something that doesn't look mechanized. The last thing we want to see from a guy that hits for power, we don't want to see that he looks coached. Now that sounds weird, doesn't it? Well, what do you mean? You've got to have a coach. Yes. Does it look mechanized? Does it look like it's complicated, like it's an elbow and a thing and a thing and a thing and a this, that, and all these robotic mechanisms put together? That swing won't last a season. That mechanism is complicated. That's too many moving parts. That's too many things to go wrong. We want it to look like he's been doing it his whole life. It's just simple and easy because that's very simple to fix. The swing will break down through the course of the season. I need something low maintenance that we can fix and get back on track. How easy can he generate that power? That's really the crux of what we're looking for. When we're talking about the ability to hit for average, or what we call rake, there's a couple of things that we really look for. First is the innate sense of timing. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a drill that'll revolutionize your world on how to find the timing of the baseball. Because that's, when I'm working with guys, I would say the vast majority of problems that we have when we're working with a hitter is they don't understand timing. They think they understand timing. They don't understand timing. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But with regard to what we're looking for, do they have a sense of that timing? Do they have a feel for hitting? Look, it's the weirdest sport there is. The defense controls the ball. It's a round bat. He's on a hill. It's 9 against 1. Your odds of success are very low. Elite success is 30% at the big league level. That's elite success. So we need guys that have some talent, have some God-given talent, and then are able to recognize that talent. And we look and say, that guy knows, he has a feel for the timing, that innate sense of when to let that barrel go. The second thing that we're really looking for that impresses us from guys that can hit into the gaps and use the bat offensively is the ability to change swing shape. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. You remember 4th of July, when the sun finally goes down and the fireworks are over and you can't, and it's real dark out, and the little kids have the sparklers, and they're twirling the sparklers. They're making lines and spinning and things like that. It leaves a trace. You can see the shape. You can see them making a circle with your eyes. You can see it. You can see them making a line and making zigzags and things like that. You can see the shape they're creating with a sparkler. We watch that in the hitter as well. The inside pitch, is it the same swing shape as the middle pitch? Well, if it is, he's going to get jammed. The outside pitch, is it the same swing shape as the middle pitch? Well, if it is, he's going to hit on the cap. Does the hitter have the ability to condense his swing, to expand his swing? Can he change the swing shape to be barrel accurate? That's how you win games. That's how you hit a ball into the gap that would ordinarily eat you up. You get fooled, you stretch your swing, you over-exaggerate, and then you dump it over the first baseman's head you change your swing shape to win the game. We watch that. Does he have that innate ability to recreate and reshape his swing to get the result that he needs? That's what we're looking for when it comes to hitting for average. Tool number 5, defense. Now, outfielders, catchers, you're not in this one generally. We're going to look at you in the next phase, which is going to be the intra-squad. We'll evaluate your defense there. This is generally for your 4 infield positions. Your third baseman, your shortstop, your second baseman, and your first baseman. And we'll group most of you guys together that way. It's groups of 4. And you'll go into the field, and you'll get your arm loose a little bit, throw a little bit, get a few ground balls that don't count, and get used to it. And then somebody will call it to order. And what you're getting are 5 different types of ground balls. You're getting a routine play, which is just going to be fielded and throw it back to the guy catching up the fungo guy. You're going to get a throw across, so we want to see how you throw across, transitioning a ground ball to a throw to first base. Then you're going to get a double play. We're going to see how you start the double play, and of course, if you're a middle guy, how you transition the double play, and if you're a first baseman, how you finish the double play. We're going to see you on the backhand. We want to evaluate your ability to field a backhand play and transition that to first base. And then we're finally going to look to see about a slow roller, where if you have a handle on the ability to come and make a fairly athletic play into something that is fairly routine. Why is this important? At my level, at the college level that you're trying to get to, or if you're in the college level trying to get to the pro level, I know what a routine play looks like. Does that look like a routine play that he's going to be able to make 90% of the time? Does that look like a routine double play that they're going to make 90% of the time? Is that backhand, is he going to make at least 50% of those as outs? That is why that is so important, because we know what it takes to keep a routine play, and we know what we need from an athletic play at the level that we are at. And you need to show us defensively that you can perform those plays to our standard. Now, just like hitting the baseball and throwing the baseball and running, this seems to be a recurring theme all the way through this. How easy do you make it look? Does it look simple? Is it smooth? Is it clunky? Does it look like there's 10 steps that you've learned from some jerk at some gym on how to field a baseball? Or does it look like you've been doing this since you're a baby? How simple does it look? That's important because the long season, you wear down, the simpler it is, the easier it is to fix. You can trust simple at the end of the season. If it looks complicated and it looks hard, you can't trust complicated and hard when you're tired at the end of the season. Complicated and hard fundamentals within defense, within swinging, within throwing, all these complexities that coaches tend to try to pepper in and add are untrustworthy at the end of the season when everybody's between hurt and injured. Always. It needs to look fluid, athletic, clean, simple. That is a huge thing for infielders. We want it to look simple and easy. Pitchers, we're finally on to you. Now, I didn't include you in the 5-tool part because we don't evaluate you generally, unless you play a defensive position. We generally don't evaluate you there. We wait till evaluate you here. Now, here's the caveat. It depends on the program. Sometimes it depends on the time and field conditions. Some programs will do their pitching evaluations in the bullpen, in that controlled environment. Sometimes they'll have that during the next phase, which is the inner squad, which I'll talk about in a minute. Let's talk about the bullpen. So this is when the catchers come in here. Catchers, I'm going to get you out of the way first. When they're doing pitching evaluations, they are not there to see you. Look at me. They're not there to see you. Just sit there and catch the ball. Now, should you block if the ball's in the ground? Absolutely. You should block it up so you can get control over it. Your job in the bullpen when they're evaluating the pitchers is to frame it normally, get the ball back to the pitcher. If it's in the dirt, block it up, keep your pitcher in his rhythm. Don't have a start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. I have fired catchers every single showcase, tryout, everything I have done. Get out. You can go home now. I've seen enough. You get your gear and go home. I've done that every single time. Just sit there, catch the ball, and understand it's not about you. It's about them. So keep those balls back in the hand of the pitchers. Keep it up here where they can catch it. Don't shin dog them. Don't shin dog them. Remember, this is college level or pro level. All right, this isn't high school tryouts. That's not what I'm talking about. So you need to be able to hit them right in the chest with the ball, make it easy for them, and you need to just catch the ball normally. That's it. It's not about you. It's about them. Pitchers, there are 4 things that are important to know that we evaluate. You think it's velo and spin rate. Thank God we're getting out of that. And again, I talked earlier about the trend. I use the word trend again. The fad in baseball for velo, and spin. We are seeing those are not trustworthy numbers because those injury rates, they're at the highest they've ever been and growing. So we know that is really a bad idea. So there are 4 things that you need to consider. We're going back to what we used to look for and what I still look for today. First is certainly velocity and spin. We're always going to look for that. We're not going to never look for that because speed kills, spin kills. It is a dominant factor, but it's one of these 4. The second thing we're looking at is your body control. Athletically, can you move down the mound on purpose or are you falling? If you're falling down the mound, there's no ability for you to adjust. You can't do anything. You're in descent. It's gravity. So when you're letting go of the ball, you're just trusting to be lucky instead of purposeful. So we're watching your body control. Does it look like you're in control of your delivery? We're also watching the pace of your delivery, also called tempo, and your rhythm in between pitches. tempo and rhythm, okay? Does your tempo look like this? From when you start to throw, is it jumpy, jumpy, 81, 81, 81, or is it 91, 91? That's the tempo of your delivery. For us, biomechanically, which I did pretty good in biomechanics, kinesiology 1 and 2 and all that in college, biomechanically, that's much more efficient because we're using the gravity of the hill, we're using the fact that we're going downhill, and we're building in time with our limbs so that everything comes together to create a high rate of speed at the very last moment. That shows purpose, intent, command over the understanding of tempo. Rhythm is in between pitches. Are you repeating the same thing? Are you walking over here, then coming back over here? Are you walking over there, come back here? We're watching for that as well. The fourth thing is your command. Now, catchers, I'm coming back to you. Here's how we rate command. This is how it was taught to me. Catchers, I want to see the mitt. Okay, I need to see the mitt. If I say set up on the outside half, you're going to set up on the outside half and show me the whole mitt. All right, he needs the last look at the mitt. Then when his eyes come off, that's when you thumb up. Don't drop the mitt. I need to see it from an evaluator standpoint. I need to see this, and it's always thumb up. It's always been thumb up because that's the way the mitt's designed. I'll have another video on this. Thumb up. And then you flash the mitt to catch. What I'm looking for in command is he missing inside the confine of your mitt. I'm going to repeat that. Is he missing within the confine of your mitt? Is he missing here, 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 here? Or is he missing outside the confine of your mitt? That shows me that pitcher has no command over that pitch. So command, how we look for command, is he inside the mitt on these 5 outside sliders, these 5 inside fastballs. Whatever the pitch is, I need to see command means it needs to be inside the catcher's mitt. That's how you know they know how to hit their spots. Now we're at the second phase of this job interview. We're past the resume stage. Most programs, what they'll do is they'll have a lunch break where they all get together, the coaches all get together, all the players go to have lunch. We'll reconvene and ask a smaller group to come back to play in the inter-squad game. So if it's a showcase that's got 100 guys in it, or a combine that's got 100 guys in it, and we do the 5-tool, break for lunch and come back, we'll have a list of 40 guys that we want to see in the inter-squad. So the other guys, really appreciate you guys coming out. We've got some packages for you. Keep the hat and shirt. That's awesome. Love you. Keep getting better. Come on out next year. Timing's not right for you. Many times you're heartbroken on that one. Well, welcome to it. This is a job interview. Okay, we do this for a living. Sorry, it is what it is. So this group of 40, let's say, we're going to break those up into 2 teams. And this is where things get very disorganized looking. They're actually not usually, but it's hard to manage because you've got so many moving parts in an inter squad. And pitchers will get 1 inning or 2 innings or whatever they decide it'll be, and it'll depend on the population they bring back. If it's 20 guys, they may get a few innings. If it's 40 guys, they may not get many at all. And really what we're looking for here, the reason this is important is because we want to see the head-to-head matchup. That's what we really want to see. I know lots of guys that can run real fast. I know lots of guys that can field. I know lots of guys that can, in batting practice, can swing it for power and hit it all the field. I know very few that can play baseball. It's different. I'll give you a great example. Kid's name was Ushman. Great dude. One of my all-time favorite guys. We got him on a transfer in University of Connecticut. This is back in the 90s where we were a very, very highly ranked national program. And he was a specimen. 6'2", fast, 6'5" guy, plus arm. In batting practice, he could ton it. But in the baseball game, when the game came, he couldn't hit a cutoff man. He could barely get to first. He would miss the ball. He'd need a boat paddle to hit the baseball. It was unbelievable. And if Ushman was sitting here, we would have a discussion about it today, and he would agree. Great dude, great tools. It just didn't translate to playing baseball. That's because the tools are a very small part. The playing baseball is about taking those tools and competing with them for a goal of winning the at-bat, winning the ground ball, winning the fly ball, winning the rundown, whatever that may be. The application of those tangibles is far more important than the tangibles themselves. But you have to have enough tangible to be able to show them off, so to speak. So you have to have enough advanced skill to be able to show us that you can put that skill into practice. Now, it's important to say that these inner squads are engineered inner squads, meaning I want to see that pitcher against that hitter. I want to see this guy against that guy. We're looking for these particular matchups as well. So that high velo guy against that guy that can ton it. We've got some matchups that we're going to engineer. About half of the whole thing is the whole inner squad will run naturally and normally. And then about half of it will be, Billy, you go to the bullpen, you're up next. And then Johnny, you come in, get bat, and then the other Billy, you get a bat too. We're engineering that. We want to see those guys hit. Parents at these showcases and combines and inner squads, I've got some advice for you as well. You are to be seen, never heard. If you're going to sit in the stands, that's fine, no problem. But if you've got cowbells and you're got pennies in jars and you're ready, do not do that. This is not the time. This is not the place. That is a parent that is over-involved, that as a college coach, I immediately think, I'm going to have a problem with that parent. Immediately. They're coming to a place where I'm trying to study and evaluate. This is my workplace. This is not the environment for that. Do not do that. Another little bit of advice for you parents out there. This is usually the dads. Your son needs to do the talking. Don't talk for them. The worst thing you could do in the beginning or the end is walk up with your kid and hey, this is my kid I brought with me. Johnny, shake. Now I know I'm dealing with a kid that has been babied his whole life. Let the kid do the talking. Tell him, nope, you go do it. Practice. If you need to practice handshakes, you need to practice all that beforehand, that's great. Tell your kid, you are on your own. I'm going to be standing up here watching. I'm your biggest supporter. You're not going to hear me. I'm not interfering. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to you. At the end, then you can have some dialogue with them, but that's only at the end, and that's generally only if you're invited over. Let them they don't want to talk to you. They're not concerned with you. They're concerned with the kid, because if it's a college program, I got that kid for a couple years. I'm not going to be having a great deal of dialogue with you. I'm not scholarshiping you. If you're invited over to speak, no problem. But you've got to make sure that these coaches know, hey man, I am now over here on this side of the fence. This is your job. You guys do this. That is music to our ears. Now we're going to talk about what you can do previous to that combine, previous to that clinic or showcase or whatever they call these things, so that when you get to it, you can put your best foot forward and get the attention that you need to get to the next level. You already know what they're going to measure. You already know what they're looking for. You already know how they're going to measure it. So now we're going to give you a couple of tips and tricks and hacks on what you can do so that the month prior to that, you're going to be in the best shape for a showcase on all those tools. We're going to break it down tool by tool. The 60, the speed tool. Unfortunately, there is not a great deal you can do about this. Now, people out there will argue with me, but God gives you 97% of your speed. God gives it to you. Does strength factor it? Does form factor it? Yes, of course it does. About that much in baseball. So the advice I'm giving you for this training for the 60 is go run the 60 a few times. Go run it. You go from a baseball stance, okay? So like you're facing the pitcher's, right there. I'm facing this way, and boom, I go. Work on staying down and running through the finish. You want to run the 65-yard dash. That's what you want to run. Run it a few times so you know how to do it. And then just go run it. You're not going to train for it and go from a 7.0 to a 6.7. It's not going to happen. And it doesn't matter. I would spend the least amount of time training for the 60. I would run it a few times so I know basically where I'm at. And I'd spend the bulk of my time on the rest of this. Arm strength. Arm strength you can control a little bit more than speed, obviously. But your arm strength is your arm strength. What the best advice I can give to anybody that is going to the showcases and going to these tryouts, make sure that you have been doing your stabilization programs, your IYTs, your arm 10s, your band programs. Now, let me make sure I'm clear on this, because most of the time I watch guys and I have to just turn away. I can't even watch them. They'll do their band work and they're just going through the motions. They're flopping around. They're not taking it seriously. They're not doing it the way it's prescribed. They're just getting it in. Then just don't do it at all and go ahead and get hurt, get your injury out of the way, and go somewhere else. Do them right. They have a purpose. They have an intentional purpose to keep that shoulder in really good health. It's like having really good tires on a car. If you have 800 horsepower in the car and you don't have good tires, you ain't going anywhere. So make sure that arm is stable, and make sure you're working that forearm to stabilize that UCL. And you're doing that previous 2-3 days a week minimum. A lot of guys will do them every day. But make sure that joint, that complex, is stabilized with that band work, and you've got some attention paid to that UCL joint. As you're preparing a couple of weeks before, make sure you're throwing at least a few days a week. I'd say 3 to 4 days a week, no more than 4, and just getting the long toss in. When you finish throwing, here's what I want you to do. I want you to simulate the actual throws. Not a lot of them. Not a lot. You're going to get 2 to third and 2 to home. That's what I want you to simulate. So go to right field, put a bucket out there, have your little sister with a mitt, throw a ball up in the air to yourself. And what you're looking for, this is what I want you to do. I want you to use my grading tool, the 1 to 10. 10 means you can throw it all the way to third base on the line and they catch it. 1 means it basically drops out of your hand. 5, you lose velo halfway. What you want to do is you want to make 2 90% throws. 90%. And see where it lands. That's going to be graded as a 5. That's going to be graded as a 5. And then go ahead and cut one loose at 100% and see if it is significantly better. Ooh, that was a 7. The reason I'm telling you to do that is usually that 95% throw and that 100% throw, it's not a big enough difference to look out of control, to look sloppy, to fall all over the place, to make it look like you don't know what you're doing. That 95% throw is usually the right one. But go ahead and cut one loose just to see if there's more in there. Hitting. Okay, there's 3 things I want you to do to prepare for this combine when it comes to hitting. First, I want you to hit on the field. The cage doesn't count. The cage is a liar, just like the driving range. You're an all-star on the driving range and you had 114 on the golf course. The cage is a liar. The driving range is a liar. Go hit on the field. You know why? Because you're going to be hitting on the field. That's where you want to see the carry. That's where it's going to take place. So the first thing is you got to go hit on the field. You need to hit 3 days a week. 2 weeks at least prior to this showcase. You need to be hitting so that you're getting enough reps in so that feel for hitting, that feel for timing is there. The second thing is I want you to do the unilateral drill. The unilateral drill, you just set the tee up. It's the top arm, bottom arm, unilateral. Unilateral is one side. So use the bat. Don't use anything other than your bat, and use your grip where you're at. Don't choke up. Never choke up on the unilateral drills. Just set the tee on the field and lead arm it a few, back arm it a few, getting good extension. Why do I want you to do that? When you're hitting for display, what happens for a lot of guys is one arm will take over and one arm will shrink. Some guys are real lead arm dominant. Some guys are real back arm dominant. That unilateral drill on the field, you'll be able to see my lead arm sucks. It's quitting, or I can't get to it, or I'm biting it off. So on the field, you'll be able to say, okay, just longer through it, and you're going to be working both sides of your body, both arms, so that both arms are working at the same strength at the same time. They're coordinated together. That's going to get you the best chance to show off your best swing. Now, the third thing I want you to do is, after you've taken BP a little bit, and you've got your swing squared away, you started with your unilateral drills, you're all squared away there, I want you to package and simulate how you're going to hit in BP. Generally, you're going to get between 8 and 10 swings. You might want to try to find out if it's going to be an arm or a machine. That might be a good phone call to make. Coach, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm coming to your showcase. That's awesome. Is it going to be an arm or a machine? Oh, we got a machine going. Try to see if you can get to hit off a machine. Simulate what you're going to see. If he says, no, I'll throw BP. Okay. You got to get a BP guy that can throw BP. If your little sister is throwing you batting practice and it's all over the place, fire her. You need to get somebody that can throw collegiate pro BP. If you got to pay somebody, pay somebody. But they need to be able to throw good BP like you're seeing, like it'll be simulated. So that you are going, okay, I'm coming off of that on deck circle, I get 10 swings. Don't take 11, don't take 12. Stop the drill and go back and assess it. That sucked. I fouled off 4. I grounded 2 into the ground. I hit 1 good. That was all. Do another set. Only work in the set you're going to be evaluated. Simulate the actual evaluation itself as closely as you can. Defensively, defense, third base, shortstop. Shortstop's over here. Second base, first base. Take some fungos. Just take some fungos. Remember what we're looking for. How easy can you make it look? Does it look clunky and lunky, or does it look like you were born to do this? How fluid can you make this whole thing? I want you, it's not high volume. When you go out and take fungos, and this is generally when everybody goes and does this, they're going to take batting practice, simulate the event, they'll run a few 60s, simulate that, they'll do a couple throws, outfield, simulate that, infielders, you're taking ground balls, simulating that. Don't take a whole bunch of ground balls. Simulate what you're going to see. Remember, you're going to see a routine ball at you, a ball across, a pivot, a backhand, and a slow roller. Do it in that chunk. Simulate it that way. Take a break, come back and do it again. Focus on how easy and simple you can make it. Here's a little added tip for you. As you're fielding, we're watching the contact of the ball, the routine play, the contact of the ball in your mitt, and the window of your hand. The window of your hand. Does it look like everything's coming together at the same time? Or does the hand coming in late? Is the ball flopping around your mitt? Is there no sense of timing between your hands? So when you're taking ground balls, you want it, because you don't field ground balls here, you field them here, right? You know that? You field on the palm of where the ball of your hand is. How is that happening? Is that action happening all together, all at once? That's on the routine play. Throwing the ball across, how easy can you make that look? You might want to uncork one, but you're going to have that on the backhand play, but how easy is it? We're looking at the spin. Are you throwing cutters over there? Are you throwing sliders over there? Make it simple. Make it easy. Remember, we like routine plays that are routine. So does it look that way? When you go to the pivot, do you have an accelerated sense of timing on the pivot? Remember, a double play moves faster than a routine play because it has an extra base it has to go to. We're still on the timing we're still on 4-second timing from home to first. It has to happen in that same timing. The routine play has to happen less than 4 seconds. Shortstop going across to first. The double play has to happen at the same time too, but there's an extra base involved. So third baseman, second baseman, everybody, when you're turning the pivot, is it quicker? Quicker, it means shorter, not sloppier and harder. It just means shorter. Is it quicker transferring the ball from the ground ball to short or the ground ball to third? Is it quicker and shorter getting it over to the second baseman? Second baseman, is it nice and clean and crisp over to the first baseman? We're timing the whole thing. I'm sitting there timing the whole thing. 5.5 seconds, that ain't a double play. Do it again. 4.9 seconds, that ain't a double play. So does the double play accelerate the pace? Because it has to. The backhand, yes, you're going to showcase the arm, but we're also looking at your mitt sense on your backhand. Is the ball getting lost in your mitt? Are you web feeling it? Okay. Are you coming up with it clean? Can you make that transition to your hand clean? Remember, I need the routine plays at 90% or better. I need the backhand 50-50s at 50%. So this part of it is most important because this part of it, the throw part, I've got a first baseman that can pick. I'm not as worried about that. But that transition from the backhand ground ball to the hand to throw is critically important. So when you're training for this, make sure you're paying particular attention to that transition, making sure you can get that transitioned from the ground ball to your hand to get it in the air effectively. We're watching stuff like that. The slow roller, that's a moderately athletic play that you need to make 90% of the time. I wouldn't work on that one very much, but work on it enough where it looks like, yep, he can make that play every day. So go out there and simulate those 5 plays you're going to get and make sure they're clean, neat. You're paying attention to the accelerated timing of the double plays, transitions. Make it simple like you've been doing it your whole life. Pitchers throwing the bullpen, and of course pitchers in the inner squad, you guys have to be real careful on your taper. This, preparing to go throw a showcase, you want to show the highest velo and the highest spin rate with the highest command and highest level of body control possible. So where that is for you in your throwing routine, you will only know. I'll say this though, big mistake is you throw too much the week of the showcase. You throw too much the week of the combine. That throwing routine should have been the week prior. Your heavy throwing routine should have been the week prior. But they get panicked. They look in the calendar. Oh, it's Monday. I've got to show. Oh my God, I got to get some throwing in. Bad idea. Because remember, your soreness for a pitcher is always delayed a day, 2 to 3 days, depending on how conditioned you are. If you're not in good condition, 3 days, you're going to be sore 3 days. Okay? 2 days is going to be bad sore, second day after. But if you're in relatively good throwing shape, your heaviest throw day is prior to the week of. I would throw a couple of short boxes coming to it, just working on that 20 to 25 pitches. You know you're going to be able to showcase your fastball and your secondary pitch. Third pitch, no one cares about. Your fourth pitch, no one cares about. You guys overthink, I have to have 4 pitches in my arsenal. Absolutely not. You have to have one really good one and one pretty good one. The rest of them we don't care about today. We'll develop those later. Generally, the really good one's going to be the fastball. When you simulate it, You get 5 on this side, 5 on that side. Then go to the curve of the slider. Generally, that's your second pitch. Simulate that bullpen, whether it's a short box or a long pen. Long pen, you need at least 1 more day rest. So my advice to you is anytime you have a heavy throw day, it's prior to, like big long tossing days, long bullpens. The week of, you're going to throw a couple of bullpens and taper. If it's a Saturday, no throw Friday, short session Thursday. Final thoughts right here. Here's what you got to do. When the showcase is over and that you've made it to the end, if you didn't make it to the end, sorry, it's not for you. Program's not for you. Get bigger, better, stronger. Come back next year. Find a different program. Don't do this if you didn't make it to the end. If you made it to the end, what I want you to do is send the coach that you talked to or the coach that ran the program, or you got somebody you talked to in there, you're interested in the school or whatever it is. Pro ball won't be this. This will only be for college. And send them an email. And just type in the email, hey, Coach so-and-so, it was great talking to you. Really appreciate the time out there. I'm going to be following you guys. You want to let them know that I'm going to be following you, you Mustangs, you Seminoles, you Gators, you Yellow Jackets. I'll be following you this season, and then I'll send you my schedule. Hope to see you out at one of my conference games. You have to say conference games or district games, whatever they call it. Don't invite them. If you've made it to the end of the tryout, you're a pretty good player. You don't want them to come to a game that you're going to win. You want to come to a game that they want to see you compete at. That message you're sending to them is, that's a professional athlete at 18, 17, 16 years old right there. He thanked me for coming out. That means he appreciates my time. He's going to follow us. That's pretty cool. That means he's got interest in our program. And he's going to invite me out to a conference game because he wants me to see him compete. That's what I'm looking for. That's a Vandy boy right there. That's a Seminole. That's a Gator. That's what I'm looking for. So at the end of all this, you're going to send him that email, and then hopefully you'll see him at the game, and maybe he'll offer you a scholarship. This is the T timing drill, the drill that will revolutionize the manner in which you learn how to time a baseball. There's a great deal of unnecessary confusion on how timing happens in baseball to hit. Coaches talk about get your lead foot down early and get your lead foot down in time, and they never really tell you when to start and stop your trigger. Well, for us, it is very, very simple. We work with all of our hitters and teach them this very simple cue on timing. The front foot finds the arrival of the fastball. You have to understand that your front foot and your hands are connected. So the timing is really based off the front foot for the hands to get to contact. So if your front foot is on time, which is slightly early, what it does is it times the baseball to a point of contact that you want in the strike zone. The drill is super simple. All we do is take a tee, step in the box, put a ball on the tee. The tosser will then toss or throw the baseball to the opposite batter's box. The hitter uses his lead foot to time a simulated arrival and strike the baseball off the tee. Now, it will take a few times to get this exactly right and find your timing, but after about 4 or 5 tries, you'll be able to gauge the timing based off your individual swing to exactly when you need to start your trigger and when to get your foot down to make perfect barrel contact.